might be a different Hercules.
Yeah, I mean, Hercules is a very popular name nowadays.
Remember, like a few years ago, every other boy was named Jason, and the girls were all named Brittany?
Hello, Internet Dwellers, and welcome back to Top Shelf Disney Animation Studios Library, the podcast where we watch all the Disney movies and talk about them at nausea. Nausea?
At nausea?
At nauseum? Phrases aren't my forte. I am Jeff, and humoring me over there across the country, as per usual, is TC. Hello, TC.
Hello, Jeff. It's good to be back.
Mm-hmm.
Here we
It's
are.
very
You know what?
good to be back.
It's nice to be talking about a movie that people have something to say about.
Oh, yes.
Have stuff to say about. Yeah. And last week we did too. People had lots to say about last week. The week before, like nary a word about Pocahontas.
Which is really saying something about the movies. Then I'm happy to know that there are a lot of other people out there that are kind of in agreement with us on a lot of these movies. It seems like that.
Yes,
that it's like we all kind of share similar opinions or similar feelings or
validation.
Not necessarily exactly. It's that validation that I live for, guys, and I'm glad that you validate me because you all complete me.
Complete. And we're back.
And we're back into this. This week's episode, we're gonna see how well this week's episode goes.
Okay. Hold on a minute. I need to prepare my response to what you're about to say. It's a very obvious response, but go ahead, continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm terrified to know what your planned response is. I don't.
It's cool. Go ahead.
Basically,
What did we watch? You have to say. You have to say what we
that's
watched.
right. I suppose we should probably say what we watched first.
Yeah,
we watched the 1997 film Hercules.
Hercules. I think
Yes.
you mean Huncules.
I cannot believe you.
I feel like if I didn't do that, there would have been people out there like someone should have said that. So
Hashtag Q Walla. No, so we watched Hercules, and so right off the bat, I'm gonna say this: like I have never seen Hercules.
Aha, a newbie.
A newbie.
Time.
The extent that I have ever seen Hercules was I remember. I don't know if it was if it was the trailers or if it was commercials for, like McDonald's toys or something like that. But I always remember seeing a couple lines from Hades. Mm-hmm. Primarily like the two thumbs way up. Yep, that line, and then the other one of like we sit down and we do. I can't remember what it is, but like we call it a day. How's that sound, or something like that. Mm-hmm. But that's all. That's all I've ever seen. I have never seen anything else from this movie.
I've never seen Hades, Lord of the Underworld. Good to meet you. Good to meet you. None of that. It's a whole new experience for you.
Whole new experience. And the only other thing that I've ever heard of was I've heard the Michael Bolton version of Go the Distance that plays during the end credits.
I will go the distance.
Which, by the way, that song in the movie, because I only know the actual, like the normal radio version of the song.
Right.
That song in this movie lasts a long time. That lasts like 3 different locations and 10 minutes of the movie. I hadn't realized that like when Hercules starts singing it again, I went, oh, this song's not done with yet. Oh, okay.
Still going.
Okay, movie. Okay, I got you.
All right. So this was your first experience with this movie. That's
right.
Kind of interesting. I'm curious to see how this episode unfolds because I have seen this movie before. Mm-hmm. And I've seen it once before in my initial watching of all these films. I never saw it in theaters. I didn't even see it when it first came out on Blu-ray or whatnot. It was in that period where I didn't like the movies. I didn't like that Disney was doing Pocahontas and Hunchback and Hercules. It felt incorrect to me, but that was quickly dashed out the window when I realized, they do more than fairy tales. I mean, Pinocchio wasn't a fairy tale. That's the second movie they ever made. So I need to stop thinking that way. So I had seen this once before, and in the viewing of it for this episode, I watched it twice.
Oh, nice. How come you watched it twice?
The first time watching it, I had a friend come over to watch it with me because it's his favorite movie. His name is Other Jeff. And
Other Jeff. I know Other
yeah,
Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff Other Jeff
Unofficially.
came over, and because it's his favorite one, and it was fun to watch it with someone who's so much of a fan of it, and to talk through the whole thing and just listen to his thoughts and opinions about it while it was playing out. But then I wanted to watch it again to really engage with it and be able to take notes and be critical about it without kicking back and laughing with my buddy. So I watched it twice for this episode, which I mean, don't let that speak to a credit of the film. I don't want to say one way or the other how I feel about it just by the fact that I watched it twice. That's why I watched it twice.
Okay.
There you go.
Very good. And I did some thinking. So the movie ended, and I didn't really have a strong reaction to the film one way or another.
Okay.
I definitely know because I was reading some of the posts people were leaving on Facebook today, and just kind of the people who I have talked to who have seen Hercules, and it seems like for the most part it's kind of just everybody enjoys it.
Yeah, it's a good to the masses. From the opinions we're seeing online, a couple of tweets I got, and the Facebook.com/TopShelfPod. I'm so good at saying that now.
You are. I don't even know what the URL is anymore. You say it. So,
but yes, the consensus seems to be that people generally like this movie. But we'll get to the comments and the reactions from our listeners as we get further on the podcast. Let's just dive into this. One of the things I want to address right off the bat is the revisionist version of this Greek story. First of all, yes, Hercules is the Roman translation. Heracles would have been the Greek translation. Don't get snobby about that. But the people who watch this and have that opinion, and it's a valid opinion that this is such this is nothing like the Greeks, because anyone who knows Greek mythology, the gods are jerks and not good people. And
right.
And would never. It's funny because you look at Hunchback of Notre Dame, the way Disney was able to translate that. It's like, wow, that's really adult. This, they did not go and try to translate it to its content, like to its original source material. They definitely Disneyfied it. They played it up for fun, which was a response to the very lukewarm. A reaction to the very lukewarm response that Pocahontas and Hunchback of Notre Dame got. That those two movies were just they went too far. They pushed the envelope too far to serious. That the powers that be at Disney were like, we got to bring the fun back. Let's bring Musker and Clemens back, the guys who brought us Aladdin and The Great Mouse Detective, and have them go to town with let them just do the thing that they do. So before I go further on Clemens and Musker, the tone shift, the fact that this is not a direct translation or that it doesn't really honor the source material is established in the first minute of this film, because it starts out like it's going to be very serious. You have Charlton Heston saying, "Oh, the Greeks, the gods." Like, he starts doing that very dramatic narration, and the muses are like, "Whoa! You're trying to make this some boring Greek tragedy. This is a story that's gonna be fun." Boom, and then they take over. You go, girl. And I don't do.
That's a spot on Charlton Heston impersonation.
See, I don't think I can do a Charlton Heston.
Because you got to be deep and gravelly and low. I don't think it's
From
possible.
my cold dead hands.
Yeah.
They take over. They establish the tone of the movie. So anything that a more well-read someone who's into literature and mythology would say, this is inaccurate. The Muses did that. It's established right at the front that it's like, hey, you know what? We're not going to give you a boring direct translation of Greek mythology. Let's kick this off and have some fun here. So I am forgiving of the pop cultural references in this movie more forgiving than I am in what Hunchback of Notre Dame did. Because Hunchback of Notre Dame, it was a tonal, a really bad juxtaposition between the modernisms versus the overall tone of the film, Whereas Hunchback of Notre Dame, because the muses are narrators, because they are giving us a story in the fashion that they give it, all those references, I'm much more forgiving of those. Some of them don't work for me. I don't really particularly care for the Air Herc sandals that they have.
Yeah.
Like that joke is that one doesn't land. But many of the references and jokes here, I'm much more forgiving of than I was for something like Hunchback, or even I was pretty hard on Oliver and Company, that's for sure.
But I mean, you could even argue that you could forgive the fact that the muses sing in a Southern Baptist gospel tone.
Oh, yeah.
Like
But Alan
the music
Menken's-
is all coming off in that way, you know?
Yeah, Alan Menken's dream come true. He'd been wanting to write a gospel style musical for like a decade, so he finally got a chance to do that. And Menken just doing his thing in this movie. But I want to ask you, Jeff, what did you think of this presentation of this mix of Greek mythology in a very it is very much in line with the type of comedy we got from Aladdin.
Right.
How'd you feel about it?
I didn't mind the fact that it didn't, or that it didn't fall in line with what the actual, Greek mythology is. I looked it up just to see, because I was curious to know, like, okay, so what, like, how far away did they stray from the source material? Because I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know a ton of that. I don't know that type of history.
I'm a big Greek mythology fan. When I was young, being raised Catholic, I was reaching that point of questioning my faith. I had this moment of these several moments of like, boy, if I could pick a religion to be true, the Greeks are kind of cool because they're all like superheroes. So,
Which basically they were, weren't they?
yeah, right. I mean, it's not like I started worshiping the Zeus and the Olympians or anything, but I just liked the stories of the Greeks better because they were just cooler stories.
I mean, so I will say that because I didn't know how accurate the source material was, it didn't bother me that they didn't do it 100% accurately.
Yeah.
I kind of expect Disney not to ever do it 100% accurately. It kind of goes back to a lot of the films from the 70s that we were watching, stuff like the Robin Hood and Sword in the Stone and all those that kind of give you this kind of like, or even Great Mouse Detective, that were kind of these intro pieces geared towards kids more so to the bigger, greater works. And it's like, hey,
right, yeah.
This is kind of the Cliff Notes version or whatever it's called nowadays.
It's Spark Notes now.
Spark Notes, yeah, there
the
you go.
introduction to the materials. That's right. It's the introduction to the materials.
Right.
But so Musker and Clements, they have, because of Aladdin, they have this very comedic, speedy, snappy style to their films. The energy of Hercules is very, very similar tonally to Aladdin. And I did see some criticism about people like, it's too goofy, it's too slapsticky. So is Beauty and the Beast and Little Mermaid, which is something that we had forgotten, or at least I had forgotten until we did the rewatches of them, that there are wild takes of, those styles of comedic, cartoonish timing that didn't. If Beauty and the Beast and Little Mermaid were a little more grounded, then yeah, this style of comedy and cartoon would feel out of place. But it didn't to me. I didn't feel out of place at all.
No, because like you said, with that opening gag of the muses cutting off what would have been the boring narrator, Charlton Heston, and introducing this concept that this is not a normal film. It's gonna be kind of goofy. It's gonna be silly. There's gonna be things that are just gonna be happening in it. It like you said earlier, it definitely sets your mind in a particular place where you are more forgiving of kind of that silly, slapsticky ridiculousness. Hades. Okay, the one thing you will get out of me for this episode is my constant praise of Hades. I love that character so much.
James Woods came in. Here's a little history, a little background on Hades himself. They went through tons of trying to nail down some sort of celebrity to do this, and In fact, Danny DeVito even went so far as to recommend Jack Nicholson for the part, and Jack Nicholson asked for like $15 million and 50% of the merchandising. It was like,
jeez.
Yeah, it was like, no, you're not gonna. They actually cast John Lithgow as Hades and recorded with him for months before they realized it just wasn't working. And did a whole new round of auditions, and all these people were coming in, and they were doing Hades, and they were trying to be Jafar, and they were trying to be Scar.
Right.
And then James Wood came in the door, and he's like, "Hello, Hades, Lord of the Underworlds, nice to meet you." Like that was his when he walked through the door to audition. That was what he said. He said, "Oh," and that's the line that ended up in the movie. They were like, he came in and gave them something they didn't even know they wanted. He came in and played this used car salesman. Good to see you. And
yeah, he does come off very much so like a used car salesman, like a slimy. He's a swindler. That's what he does.
Yeah.
But he's good at it. He knows what he's doing, and he's a little hot tempered.
Oh gosh,
no pun intended.
Yeah, his calm, cool. I'm cool. Rah! His light switch, like freakouts are so. I love the animation on his fire, on his hair. Hades is spectacularly realized in this movie.
Oh, definitely.
And James Woods loved doing this part, so much so that he negotiated a lower amount of money so that they would never cast anyone else to do the voice of Hades. The Hercules cartoon series, James Woods. The video game, Kingdom Hearts, James Woods. The toys that have Hades' voice, which is super rare, the actor did the voice for the toys even. Like that's how much
unheard of.
He was just in love with the fact that he got to play this villain. Like this, it was really important to him that he got to do this. And a huge credit to James Woods for that.
Definitely.
We won't discuss anything else about James Woods aside from what he is in this film. And in this film, he's fantastic. He's
Absolutely.
a great villain.
I would love to hear what John Lithgow had done. It's very intriguing to know that obviously James Woods in this movie is perfect as this character, and I cannot imagine anybody else being Hades because there's so much of there's such a character there that I'm curious to know if John Lithgow had done something along the lines of like Farquaad from Shrek. Was it more of a kind of
that's right,
normal upper crust just person that he was doing as the evil guy?
I didn't even remember that he was Farquaad in Shrek. That's crazy.
Like, there's a part of me that wonders if that's not what he did. More of or what. It'd be so curious to see because they would have been a completely different movie. At least a completely different character portrayal.
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
I've often heard it said, and you may have heard it too, Jeff, and our listeners probably have heard this as well. A movie is only as good as its villain, and Hades being as good as he is definitely helps this movie, elevates this film. But it's a credit to James Woods for coming in and wanting to do it so badly. And if we're speaking of voice actors, I want to give credit to Danny DeVito, who, if just seeing the name Danny DeVito, one would think, oh great, this is going to be like Jason Alexander's performance.
Right,
this is going to
like
be
all over again.
But especially watching it twice and truly appreciating just how much energy and life that performance has. Danny DeVito's performance as Phil is really fantastic. He is not phoning it in one bit, and often strong performances like that. Voice performances will inform the animators. They will draw from, because Disney started this tradition. I think it's standard now of all animated movies. They film the vocal recordings so that the animators can watch the vocal performers performing their lines. And a lot of times that will lead to, oh man, look what, Hades does this great thing when Meg says, this guy Hercules, and Hades leans forward and goes, what was that name again? And he does this gesture with his hand, and then he does this gesture with his head, like his hand and his head. And that's a straight up James Woodism that they clearly he had to have done that in the booth. And Danny DeVito, there's so much about Phil that is just that's friggin' Danny DeVito playing that character.
And this is going to come back up for a film that's going to come down the ways a little bit, but I can definitely see, like, knowing James Wood is Hades and knowing Danny DeVito, you know, you can picture both of those actors portraying those characters. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's not just because James Wood is tall and thin and Danny DeVito's short and fat.
Yeah.
That's not the point. But the point is like just their facial expressions, actually how they look a little bit too. Like their actual character model in some degree is very reminiscent of I can see the actor in that face.
Oh yeah.
And so it's awesome that they do that. And I lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. Oh God.
Well,
it happened again.
You said there's someone coming down the pipe that a voice actor that we're going to be getting. That you were hinting at something.
Yeah, oh yes, I'm just in a handful of more movies. Actually, the last one of our set of 10 here that we're doing is definitely a movie that you watch. You look at the characters in those films, or in that film, and every single one of those characters is a character spitting image, if you will, of the voices of the voice actor themselves. And it's just, you could see a live action version and they wouldn't have to do much to those actors to make them look like the people that they're portraying.
Nice. I know which movie you're talking about too as well.
You know what I'm talking about.
To stick with Hercules, another great voice performance here is Susan Egan, who is the legendary Belle from Broadway. How many years did she do it?
Wasn't it like 15 or something like that?
15 years she played Belle on Broadway. She holds the record. But so her is Megara, or Meg. Meg is... What did you think of Meg, Jeff? I'm curious.
So Meg, I was actually a little confused as to what her deal was for like the first half of the film until I had realized, like, oh, okay, so she is working with Hades. Okay, I get it. All right, and then I kind of understood, and then I was just trying to figure out what she was going to do. Like I was just sitting there going, okay, you have to redeem yourself, I'm assuming, at some point, right? and then I'm like, oh, okay, so they made her the love interest, and all right, cool. I did like her. I mean, I liked her more than Hercules, because I'm not going to lie, gang.
Well,
not going to lie. Yeah, okay, we'll get to that in a minute.
We'll get that in a minute. Meg,
yeah.
I love Meg. I love one of her first lines is, I can handle this. She talks about, like, men, no means yes, and Hercules doesn't get it. And they didn't want Susan Egan. Menken didn't want Susan Egan, because now Menken had done Beauty and the Beast for Broadway, and he obviously knew Susan Egan's ability, but he didn't want it. He didn't think the innocent, wonderful, heroic Belle could voice the more scoundrel that Meg is. Right. And so to convince him, she auditioned just by voice. She did not come in and read for them. They all turned their backs on her, and she performed the part without them looking at her. Which, obviously, it's a voice performance. You'd think that would be a given. But just to put that out of Menken's mind, she came in and did Meg and proved her capabilities as a voice actress. And she's just fantastic. And there's nothing Belle... Well, I mean, yeah, there's the tenacity of Belle, but Meg is a much more worldly character. She's been to the underworld and back. She's
right.
But she's loved and been... and lost love and fell in love again. She's a far more complex character than a lot of the other female leads we've seen.
Now, just to get her story straight. Now, was it just so I can understand exactly what happened? Yeah. Did she sell her soul to Hades to bring her love back? Was that what it was? Yeah,
and then he like, thanks, babe. Oh, another girl, and he left. So
okay.
She had given up her soul to Hades for a man who ended up leaving her. So that's why her whole song that I won't say I'm in love. She can't do that to herself again and be betrayed, but she did fall in love with like the most noble guy she possibly could have fallen in love with.
Yeah,
And,
Hades, right? I mean, it's
Oh yeah. So her motives are very well done, and she says like everyone's petty and dishonest, and no one can hurt you if you're alone. Like she has some complexity to her, and I appreciate it. I like that about her as a character. Never been officially crowned princess.
And they're just that's a good point, you know, because considering that our main protagonist is a guy in this film, I didn't even think about her that she wasn't among the princesses, but she wouldn't be, would she? Because
No.
Hercules wouldn't be isn't royalty.
Well,
that kind of stinks.
There are rules for it. Someone actually tweeted us about
That's
it,
right.
so I'll bring it up again later. But let's talk about Hercules himself. First off, this movie is a better Superman movie than some of the Superman movies we've gotten recently.
Very true. Very true. Basically a god-like character is sent to mortal Earth, where he shows up, is super strong even as an infant, has a evil force who knew his father, trying to kill him.
Is adopted by two old farmers who were having trouble conceiving.
Yep.
Yep. He doesn't understand why he's different as a clumsy teenager, and his dad and mom tell him the truth, and then he goes off on a spirit quest to figure out who he is. He meets the disembodied voice of his father.
TC, this movie is Superman.
And it's a better Superman than what we've been getting.
And now I have to rewatch this entire movie because now that I see that that connection, I have a whole different viewing of this film now. Oh no!
But I do like it's the hero's quest. It's the hero's journey. So if you look at what Pocahontas and Hunchback did, they were a bit removed from the classic story arcs that we get from more traditional storytelling. And this Hercules definitely goes back to the Joseph Campbell monomyth, the 3-act structure, the high point, the low point, the everything like that. The climax, the denouement, it's all here structured in the screenplay. And Hercules, even though he's a god and he has superpowers, he's still painted very much as a vanilla everyman. And he isn't the strongest element of this movie. He's just the central point of the movie. But when you have Hades over here being as strong of a personality he is, even Phil, who has a more interesting arc, Phil, like I love it. Phil, Hercules says, "Haven't you ever had a dream?" And Phil gets this look where he's like, "Yeah, God, let me tell you, I did have a dream." And he explains his whole dream about he just wants to be the coach to the greatest hero ever. So that people will look up at the stars and say, "Hey, there's Phil's boy," and he gets that in the end, and it's this wonderful. That is the most heartfelt, like that's the most touching element of this film is Phil's journey.
Yep.
And then you have Meg being the personality she is. That Hercules is just a weak. He's a weak main character, but oh jeez,
Rim shot. It's okay. We're doing all the puns today, so it's perfectly okay. TC.
So I wonder if, and I have this as a note, is it because is there a lack of development for Hercules? Is it because they play him as just the standard hero on a journey? Does the movie play out too fast? As much as I enjoy the comedy and the speed and the Looney Tunes isms of this movie, does the story go by too quickly that you can't really attach yourself to Hercules? Because even looking at the comments we got, no one's on here going, "I love the character Hercules." Everyone's saying, "Hey, Hades, Meg, Meg's song."
Right. Well, and I think that's a good point because we spend the most time with Hercules, but nothing really happens in that time. I mean, we're with him the moment that he's born. You know, him getting kidnapped to him being the kid, be that awkward teenager. Where it's like, that whole scene that it's strange. I agree with you in the sense that I think it moves too fast, but then there are certain beats that just take forever to get their point across. For example, that whole sequence where he is the teenager and he ends up knocking down the whole market.
Yeah.
That scene is like 10, 12 minutes long. it's a long scene, and all that happens is it shows that he's an awkward teen and that nobody likes him.
Hercules.
Yeah, and it's like it's one of those where it could have actually that stuff could have played out maybe a little different. And I cannot off the top of my head think of how
There was
or what they would do.
A young Hercules TV series that played out all of that for a couple seasons. So if your desire is to want to see more klutzy young Hercules that no one likes trying to prove himself in the world, there's a TV show for that.
There's a TV show for that. Fantastic. It's the equivalent of there's an app for that.
Yeah.
But then there's definitely other spots where there is just I don't know. Hercules to me, and this was one of the notes that I made a note. I do not care about Hercules or his journey at all. Like I really don't. I mean, it's like I'm like yeah. I want him to be able to go back to where he belongs and to be given back his powers and obviously not die. Mm-hmm. But there are so many of literally every other character in the film I care about more. I even care about freaking Pain and Panic, which we have to bring back up again because
we will.
Oh, those two. But like I even care about them more than I care about Hercules, just because there's a one spot, and it's especially. And I know this is kind of the point to a degree, but it's after Hercules become famous and he goes about he kind of came off as kind of a tool basically, and I just didn't care anymore. And then I was more concerned about then I shifted my attention to Phil and Hades and like all the other characters. I'm just like, no, they're more interesting to me. They all have good, strong motives for why they are who they are, and I just want to make sure that they end up where they're supposed to at the end, whether that be that Hades gets his comeuppance or Meg, maybe actually realizes that she's doing wrong and she and can open up her heart again. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it is about Hercules. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you brought up Pain and Panic, so I have some thoughts about Pain and Panic as well, but I'd like you to go at this first, especially again because this was your first experience with them. I knew what I was getting into with them. What you seem to have some thoughts on Pain and Panic.
I was super excited when I heard Bobcat Goldthwait starting to talk. When Pain comes down the door, I'm like, did they actually get Bobcat? And I had to IMDb it. I went, they got Bobcat. And then once Panic started talking, and I'm like, why do I know Panic? Why do I know that voice?
Max
it's
Headroom.
Matt Frewer. Yes, Max Headroom. Big Russ Thompson from Honey, I Shrunk the
Kids.
I went, or of course, anybody too young to know any of that stuff. He's on Orphan Black. He's on all this other stuff. You guys know that, whatever.
He was in
I know him as Big Russ Thompson and Max Headroom. That is who I know that man is.
I as well. So you were a fan of Pain and Panic.
I liked Pain and Panic. They were goofy. They were the stupid, silly, henchmen of the villain, which obviously we've seen done hundreds of times, or 35 times prior to this. But at the same time, I don't know. I enjoyed seeing them. I liked the characters. They were very, very cartoony, over the top characters.
Yes.
That again had it not been established that we are in that world, they would have felt tonally inconsistent. They would have been wrong entirely for this film. Well, actually, I can't even say that because LeFou is kind of goofy and over the top, and the hyenas are kind of goofy and over the top, and obviously flipping Iago is so over the top it's not even funny.
I think that Pain and Panic fall into the same category as the hyenas. They are critical to the plot. Which, if you look at some other sidekicks, the Gargoyles are not critical to the plot of Hunchback.
Right.
Trying to think of another. Miko and Flit, they are not essential to. I know those aren't hench dogs, hench creatures, henchmen.
Henchmen.
But Pain and Panic are actually essential to the plot of Hercules. Part of me, I don't think every one of their moments works. Oftentimes, the momentum can slow down because we have to see a gag with Pain and Panic, but at the same time, They do have some. There's a great moment of when Hades is freaking out and he grabs them by the head and they're like, ah, 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 ah. I don't know why that moment jumps out at me as so good, but it's the animation and it's their reactions to it. Plus they have. See, I'm jumping all over the place here. The details in them actually speaks to the details of this whole movie, animation wise. Technically, I think this movie is one of the most realized worlds we've ever seen in any of these Disney movies.
And I will say, just real quick, I will say again, I'm a broken record. This movie's absolutely gorgeous looking. Despite the fact that I may not be a huge fan of it, it was still beautiful, and the music was fantastic, and the voice acting is great. But yeah, it was a gorgeous looking world. Anyways, continue.
It feels like a world with so much to tell, and it comes into existence immediately. Where even some of the classics like Beauty and the Beast doesn't have a look that necessarily sets itself apart. I mean, the whole movie itself sets itself apart. I'm not trying to bash that, but looking at more of the classic films, though Cinderella might be the more memorable film, Sleeping Beauty has a look that stands out.
Right.
And though Bambi might be a much superior film, even Dumbo has a look that makes itself stand out in its own way. And that's not a credit. That's not the overall credit to the film. I'm not saying one's better than the other. But what I will say about Hercules is that the movie is the world is so vibrant and real. All the gods are so unique, and that at a macro level, at a macro level is impressive. The details at a micro level really are a credit to the filmmakers of this film as well. The filmmakers for this movie. Details like the way hair falls, or the leaves of trees, or smoke, or waterfalls, the water spilling into off the waterfall. It has columns. Everything is carved like columns. There aren't very fine line details. It's all it has the curl of arches and columns, and everything has a quality of Greek art to it, and that little attention to detail is great, and I really, really enjoyed that. The look, as far as the look is concerned, of the film. The backgrounds are beautifully designed, and then characters existing with them. Something as simple as the way Pegasus flies. When you first see Pegasus created from the clouds, he's being pinched by the back by his wings, and his body hangs from that pinch. And when he's an adult, that physics still exists on Pegasus on a much bigger level, and he has weight to him, and the way he moves, it's and also another returning voice actor.
Oh yeah. Of course, because now, guys, you will not be able to watch these movies without hearing the voice work being just you all gonna hear Jim Cummings, and you're all gonna hear oh my goodness, I'm spacing on the.
If we go old school, Sterling Holloway. Yeah.
Old school Sterling Holloway. You're always gonna hear these guys no matter what now. Sorry.
But I liked little attention to the details in the training montage when Hercules is when Phil's training him. The way the dummy keeps getting beaten up after all his failures. Her eyes hanging out. She doesn't have any hair left. But they keep using the same dummy. I like the progression of that visual gag is really fantastically done. The fates themselves. So the three fates of Greek mythology, one chooses the thread, one measures the thread, one holds the thread, and one cuts the thread of a person's life, and they correctly assigned those characteristics to the three fates. The three times we see them hold the string, measure it, and cut it, they are individually doing their tasks for that. Let's see what else. There's another. Details. I don't have anything else in here. Whatever. Phil's whistle. He's the coach, right? But he uses a pan flute for his whistle. I thought that was really.
It was definitely, yeah. It's the attention to detail. The directors, they knew what they were doing, obviously, because they had great detail in our like their previous movies that they had worked on, and this one definitely didn't hurt. Now I think they helped write the screenplay, if I do recall correctly.
Yes,
as well.
they do have
among the 50 people who write every Disney movie screenplay. But it's I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why for me, I just didn't care that much, and I would love to know why. I'm gonna have to. This is gonna be like one of the first films that we've watched where I'm gonna probably have to go back and rewatch it again, just on my own time.
I don't think you're wrong to feel that way, because when you look at your central character, because you had no information going into it, you are gonna follow your main character and want to attach yourself to him and want to see the film through him, since he's the central character. And if he's a bland character, that's going to affect your overall feel of the movie. This is a movie of moments. This whole film, I know that's kind of sounds like redundant, but honestly, the gems, there's gems sprinkled through this whole film, whether it's the animation technique or whether it's a line of dialogue, because there's plenty of lines of dialogue. I'm amused by how much Yiddish is in this movie. there's a lot of like, that stuff. Like there's all the, like, especially from James Woods, there's a lot of Jewish Yiddish in this. It's very amusing to me.
The one thing that I will say, like, if maybe the reason why I had a hard time connecting with Hercules is because so far, out of a lot of the movies that we've watched, a lot of the Disney movies in general, and even so, just like the last handful that we've watched, stuff like Hunchback and Pocahontas, and even stuff like Lion King, our protagonist was somebody that I could look at and go, yeah, I could be that guy, or that person. Hercules is a god who doesn't have all of his powers, but still is above and beyond what a normal human is going to be. And I think maybe my head just naturally went, oh, well, that's not somebody you will be. Even because the whole, like, I know, right? Let's admit it, guys. I mean, as good looking as I have, my left hand side of my face looking like Chris Hemsworth, my right hand side looking like a later day Chris Hemsworth, doesn't matter. I still will never be Hercules, because even like the whole being teased because he's different and a klutz thing, Hunchback did better in my eyes, because I can relate, I can see Hunchback, I can see that as being a person that that could be a real person. Hercules, I don't get that.
You can relate more to some other characters we've had, and that's just a discredit. That's a criticism of the script itself, because. Because there's a great theme here that a hero is measured by the size of his heart, or the strength of his heart, not the size of his strength. Like, that's a great message,
right.
and a little more development of Hercules in some simple key moments could have made him a character you could empathize with a little bit more, because he does have he just wants to prove himself and earn his place in a pantheon. He wants to prove himself to the world as much of it as he wants to prove it himself worthy. And that's a great, noble, that's a very good story technique, or a character arc. It just isn't developed enough. I actually think a scene that really would have helped was if we had seen Meg and Hercules date, because. And I think that's a detriment to Meg as a character as well, that she's like, hey, I said, come on, ditch Phil, let's go out, let's go see a play, let's hang out for the day. Boom, the night's, wow, that was a great date. And another song there, or a montage of them together out for the day.
If Hercules is, maybe while they're out, if Hercules is attempting, because like he doesn't know how to act on a date, so maybe if it's him trying to figure it out and kind of failing, but she sees that he's trying, so she thinks it's cute. Even that would have been enough for me to go, okay, I can now kind of relate to this character. Because even though he is a god, he is still having real human problems. Of just tanking a date, basically.
A perfect example of a montage we've seen in the past few films is Eric and Ariel's date out on the town. That's done in montage, but it helps develop them both as characters. before you get to kiss the girl. And I think that a moment like that in here would have reinforced the arc that Hercules was going through. It would have reinforced why Meg falls in love so what seemingly looks easy. And that's disappointing that isn't there, because I think that would have helped.
I'd agree.
But because even Go the Distance, great song. It's a great song, but as far as it's presented in the film, I don't know. It doesn't have the same impact as a lot of the other I Want songs we've seen. Part of Your World, Belle, even Out There by Hunchback, which is, as I've mentioned more than once, one of my favorites ever. Even Just Around the River Bend from Pocahontas. Those are such stronger character developing songs. Go the Distance is a great song, but it doesn't have the impact that several of the other songs we've seen have.
Mm-hmm. And now, do you think that could be? Does that come down to just the script that they had to work with when it came to writing the music, or do you think that was just, because because Alan Menken has been doing what? This is his 6th or 7th movie.
And is not the last one, that's for sure.
Yeah, and so I don't know. Maybe is it just hitting a lull, or what? Why do you think maybe it's not as strong of a song? Do you think they could have just? I like to know who wrote the lyrics to it, or I want to know how that normally comes about. If because I do not know, honestly. I'd like to know if the script kind of has a hey, here's a thing that we could do. Here's where a song should go.
Yeah, what I think it is that I mentioned this. Excuse me. I mentioned this last week. That balance, that tonal balance between the drama you can get from some of these movies and the fun and fancy free you can get from some of the other ones, because this movie is a reaction and pulling back from the drama we got from Pocahontas and Hunchback. They didn't pursue that depth. They kept it light. They kept it fun. They kept it snappy. They kept it moving, and by doing that, they sacrificed some of those deeper elements that has appealed to us from the previous films. And it's just trying to walk that line and find it. I don't know if they will be able to get it, and it might be like I said before. It's like you got to pick one. You can't walk the line. You got to pick one side or the other. And I like that this movie decided to just go a little more wacky, go a little goofier, get back to what made the movies fun and exciting, and get rid of the dreariness of Hunchback and the drama of Pocahontas, because those pursuits of drama and the dreariness are more failures than they are successes for what Disney did. The pursuit of comedy in this and the sacrifice of drama is also a failure for this movie as well, in some respects. But I go back to the muses setting the tone for this movie. I think everything is informed by that decision. And there's a Pain and Panic, though some might find Pain and Panic to be as obnoxious as other sidekicks, and some of them might find enjoyment of them, as much as you had, Jeff, when they are introduced. And they come in and they are doing over the top. Oh, we're here! Like they're just being Hades literally does a fourth wall break as if to look at the audience and go, "Yeah, we're doing this."
I do feel like Hades as a character is aware that he's in this movie, and he's aware that he's almost in the wrong movie in a couple of moments. He comes off being like, he never actually explicitly says it, but those little fourth wall breaks, or just the lines that he gives, he to me seems like he feels like he should be in a much more serious movie, but he is somehow stuck in this. So he's just making the best of it.
Yeah, but it's still good. I still think that there are they did pay attention to it's a well-structured script, though it might not be the most developed script, because nothing happens by accident. Nothing is out of the blue. There's a great piece of script structure in that Phil gets knocked off of Pegasus as they're flying away, and that could be the end of the gag. He gets knocked off. Hey, watch it. Let's go. Boom. And he hits the ground. And when he wakes up to witness Hades and Meg talking to each other. And so he goes to run off, and it's all cause and effect, and that's a well-structured script. But like I said, maybe not the most well-developed script, at least in the areas we've been criticizing.
Jeepers,
I do
mister, you sure are strong. Jeepers, mister.
Sorry, you were gonna say something. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask. I was gonna switch a little bit. I do have one question. I have one question for you, TC, and it's not the question you think it is.
Okay.
I'm not jumping ahead.
Okay.
I do want to ask a question. So there's obviously a very clever moment. Now, so we often talk about, or every once in a while we talk about connections or tropes or whatever. I don't really do much of the firsts anymore, but the connection to a previous Disney film and kind of like the whole like Disney theory. Now, at one point when after Hercules has his little like popularity burst, and he's popular, he's getting himself painted. He is wearing a lion around his head, and that lion is absolutely obviously Scar.
It's Scar. Yeah, he is wearing Scar.
And it's not a subtle reference. And what I wanted to ask was because a lot of times the references in these movies to previous Disney films are just that. They're kind of obscure. They're very quick. You pay no attention to it. You move on. This is like they flat out make it a point to like show the audience, hey, look, it's Scar. You see,
Scar.
Look, it's Scar. Because like even the fact of having like Phil like pick it up and like look at it and kind of just kick it away, it's obvious. Is this the most like in our face reference that we've had? And why do you think they did that? Was it just for the gag?
Yeah,
Or
I think it was.
do you
I
think
think it was just for the gag. I don't think they were trying to build some all-encompassing universe of characters. At least in this film, I don't think they were doing that. I think it was
Or
just there
were they
for the
trying to build an all-encompassing universe of characters, Stacey?
gag. No, that is a very modern thing to do. I think it was there for the gag. It's a blink. It's like Carpet being in Hunchback of Notre Dame, or Belle being in Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Right.
We've gotten those little sprinklings in there before. This was just brought to the forefront, and I don't know.
Does it take the viewing away? Does it take your viewing experience of the film away because they do make a joke of it and linger on the fact that it's Scar? Does that take anything out of it for you?
No, it didn't for me. Did it for you?
No, I was because I do tend to look at that sort of thing, and I tend to be like, I wonder why they did that. I wonder why they made it be Scar, and why are they making such a big deal out of it? I know it's funny, and I understand that, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
But why?
Well, if you think Sebastian shows up in Aladdin when he's like, "Oh, King Crab," like
right.
So Musker and Clements do have a precedent for such direct references because that Sebastian one. There's no doubt about that. He's like, King Crab, boom. There's Sebastian, throw him away.
Right. Down to having like the Under the Sea riff play.
Yep. So I actually think that's more in your face than the Scar one.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it has the musical cue. It has the musical cue.
Okay.
Come on.
If they had started playing the riff of "Be Prepared" or the hook of it, then I would be like during Scar's appearance in this. Then I would agree that this would be more on the nose. But all right. I see your point. I get your point. I understand.
So something that it's worth mentioning is the callbacks in this movie to stuff they set up in the beginning. One of the first things that's when they fail to kill Hercules, Pain and Panic is like, if he finds out, if is good. And then in the end, hey, if he gets out of there, he's going to be mad. If he gets out of there, if is good. Phil mentions his stubby bow legs the first time we meet him. And then in the end, Hercules says, mentions his stubby bow legs. There's a lot of fun callbacks to stuff in the script. And going once, going twice. Okay, you got yourself a deal, which Hercules turns on Hades in the climax of the film.
Right.
I like that. I like that those setups and knockdowns exist in this film as well. Jeff, this might be worth watching a second time to reinforce your opinion.
I think I might have to agree to it. Honestly, I really think I might have to rewatch it because we're getting to the point of the episode where we discuss our opinions of the movie and where we would rank it.
Yeah.
And I don't think people are going to be liking me much.
Oh boy.
Just saying.
The one little final details I want to mention here before we actually can move on to our latter sections of the episode. the muses, when they are the busts during the I Won't Say I'm in Love musical number, it was pointed out to me that those are the busts from the Haunted Mansion, the way that they're set up.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, the way the 4 are set up and the 5th one's knocked over. So that's a little detail there. The fact that they only show 6 planets aligning because the Greeks only believed there were 6 planets in the solar system. So
Clever.
That's a nice little detail there. What about Meg dying on screen?
That is pretty dang okay, and that sequence is pretty insane. Like when to actually see her die, and this is fell into that category again where I'm like, okay, she's dead. Mm-hmm. Don't bring her back.
Yeah.
Do not bring her back, because I have a big pet peeve of films and of movies killing off a character just to have him be brought, and then having a full moment of sadness and trying to tug at my heartstrings to get me to feel something, and then just immediately be like, oh wait, by the way, there is a way that we can bring her back from the dead.
Now I will defend
and it bothers me sometimes.
I will defend it. They established that was possible in the universe because Meg had done it. She had done it for the love of her life, and now Hercules was doing it in return to her. So it was established that it was a possibility.
Right, and that's okay then, as long as it's established ahead of time and it's not something, I'm looking at you, Star Trek Into Darkness, where all of a sudden it's like, oh, by the way, we cured death, so no one has to worry about anything anymore, because y'all gonna live.
I, however, am not entirely thrilled with the fact that she becomes the catalyst for the finale. I'm on the fence of how I feel about that Hercules gives up his pursuit to be on Mount Olympus, and everything is focused on saving this one individual, which is very heroic. But at the same time, Meg is such a strong character up to that point, to then turn her into the prize. I'm not in love with that concept.
Yeah, that's a concept it feels just. It's like, oh, you just are now okay. You're turning it into a cliche love story that. Really? Is that how it would have ended? Is that what would have been the outcome for this world?
But that's not to take away from the fact that the underworld sequence it's a very well animated sequence. I loved how they created that well of souls, and it doesn't have a horrifying element to it that we would see from something like Bald Mountain or Black Cauldron. But it still has a real nice creepy element to it. Actually,
Hades, when he's in the first time he goes back to his place and he's just in the boat crossing the river, and it's just a river of just like floating souls, which is just really dark and disturbing when you actually think of it.
When you think
but makes
about
sense for the character,
and it's not like blatantly horrifying. It's just like once you kind of like dwell on it. But a lot of again, I said this is a movie of moments. I love the Hydra fight, I love the color palette of the Hydra fights.
Oh, it's very bright. Oh man, the first time he slices off its head.
Yeah, where it comes out of his neck and
yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, holy cow. That was not what I expected at all.
What did you think of the CGI in that sequence? Because the Hydra was a CGI character.
Right. The CGI, so we're obviously getting better. Because some of the CG we've seen in previous Disney films that they use, they try to use it to a minimum, but then you could go back to, what was it? Was it Rescuers Down Under, or was it Oliver and Company?
Rescuers Down Under was Marahoot was completely CGI.
That's right. But then like just you can see
she
that
wasn't CGI because Glenn Keane was determined to animate her.
That's right.
But a lot of the vehicles.
The vehicles and like the cities, because the Sydney Opera House and stuff like that they did in CG, that was just at the time was different. At the time, that was the greatest thing they could do. Nowadays, looking back at it, you're like, wow, that's terrible graphics. You could see the upgrade in the technology, because obviously in '97 they had already released Toy Story, and I believe A Bug's Life came out this same year. Or maybe another year or so, but we'd already had the first full-length animated film, a 3D animated film at this point, and you could see that the technology had gotten better with the character, because the character had a lot of that hand drawn animation, just kind of like stretch and pull and squash and and just style to it, that it looked a lot better. It still bugged me a little bit because I'm like, you're so close to being good, but you're still a little CG-ish, and it looks a little weird. But
it's the wider shots that it gets a little too CG-y, like where it kind of you can see it separated from the hand-drawn stuff. But the facial expressions, I really liked the blend of the hand-drawn to the CG in there.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Well,
TC, for those of you listening, TC had the most notes out of this week's episode. I unfortunately just had next to nothing for this film, and I asked TC to please keep the show running before we start.
I think I'm doing all right here.
TC, you're doing great.
But before we get to rankings here, is this a movie for kids? Would you sit a kid down to watch this?
I think this movie has a lot more kid-friendly beats to it than obviously like Hunchback did, or even Pocahontas did. Which Pocahontas wasn't not kid-friendly. It was just wasn't anything super exciting.
Right.
I think kids would like this one more because of the aforementioned stuff, like what you said, the goofiness, the more light tone that they went for in it. I think there's plenty of jokes. There's plenty of just funny things. Plus, any kid, or like a lot of kids nowadays who've grown up watching Family Guy, would totally recognize James Woods as Hades.
Yeah.
They'd be probably waiting for him to say, "Ooh, a piece of candy" at some point.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Because I know that's the first thing that pops in my head, unfortunately. But yeah, I think there's a decent lesson to be learned. And again, like I said earlier, it goes back to those earlier films that we had watched, where if you're gonna want to try to get a kid maybe interested in Greek mythology or in kind of some of these more ancient stories, this would be a good starting point to see if they're remotely interested in it.
Yeah, you can go from this to Ryan Gosling's Young Hercules, to Kevin Sorbo's Hercules, to The Rock's Hercules,
and then be like, where did we just go? That's an evolution. Holy cow.
Well, it's just a downward spiral of quality in those four movies.
Hey, you can stop at the Kevin Sorbo one and not go any further than that. There's nothing wrong with that. That show wasn't that bad, okay?
I don't know about that, Jeff.
Come on. It was produced by Sam Raimi. It had Bruce Campbell in it. Come on. It wasn't a serious show. That's my argument.
Okay. Well, I suppose now is a good time as anyway to see if you've disappointed.
TC, of all the movies that we watched.
All right, I want you to stick with what you've chosen. I'm going to stick with what I've chosen here because typically not typically, but oftentimes our conversations I won't rank the movie until after we've talked for at least a half an hour.
Mm-hmm. And I had a ranking on mine. I have not changed it, but I was going to leave it open if you had somehow convinced me to think otherwise.
Well, I will say that overall, I because I'm a fan of the more animated, the more illustrated style of and the escapism that movies like this can offer, I did find it to be more enjoyable, and I didn't have trouble watching it 2 times back to back, though it was necessary for me to do so. I am going to place this as my number 3, below Lion King and above
3.
The Hunchback of Notre Dame. I wrote down what I think you're going to put, so we'll get to that in a second. But when you have a character like Megara, who is such a great female character, just a great character in general, she's got a great song. She has the best song in the movie. Go the Distance is a good song, but I Won't Say I'm in Love. I mean, hell, all the Muses songs are fantastic as well. And Hades is such a cool villain. James Woods' performance in this. And again, as I said very early in this podcast, Danny DeVito's performance is really, really good. He could have been what I feared, the Jason Alexander level of sidekick character performances. But no, he's a main character, and he gives it his all. I love the attention to detail in the design, the animation technique they used in bringing the Greek characters to life. Even as something as simple as hitting that centaur, he goes flying and his 4 horseshoes follow him. I loved the Looney Tunes of that. Or Earth to Herc and turning his head with a boink. Like, all that Chuck Jones isms, all that Looney Tunes isms. I'm putting it as my number 3. Jeff, how about you?
So my ranking has not changed since I finished watching it yesterday.
Okay.
And I will say we're not far off. But I am putting it at my number 4.
That's what I thought.
So it's going to be below Hunchback and above Pocahontas. As I've made it clear through this episode, I loved Hades. Hades is the sole reason I would watch this movie again.
That's fine. I had a feeling as I was watching it that I was in your head, Jeff. We've spent enough time doing this podcast now. I'm thinking like you.
Oh no, TC, you're thinking like me. That's dangerous. Pretty soon, you're gonna just want to eat pizza and watch Beauty and the Beast over and over again.
That doesn't sound so bad. Let me tell you.
It's not really. I do it every other Friday. No, like Hades was the one main thing that I enjoyed the most out of it. Like I said, Hercules, just there wasn't anything for me to latch onto, and unfortunately, because I had a hard time latching onto the protagonist or connecting with anything the protagonist was trying to deliver, I then went to the antagonist, and because the villain is usually the character I like the most out of most of these films. I love Jafar and I love Iago. I love the bad guys. They're always the things that I oftentimes latched onto, especially if I couldn't find the protagonist that I could relate to. But Pain and Panic are funny and they're goofy. I don't know. I think my love of them are more just because of the actors behind them, and I might be willing to forgive some of their more ridiculousness because of who they are. But at the end of the day, for me, the songs were just kind of okay. I still agree they're beautiful. Like the movie's animated beautifully, everything looks great. We're really, really into that time frame now where the lines aren't rough anymore. Even on Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast, you could still kind of see some of those rough edges. Of the movies, and we're definitely past that now. The movies look good; they look clean. It's a well done film, but just at the end of the day, I'm one of the outcasts. Hunchback was a fantastic movie. Yeah, I would happily watch Hunchback, and again, that's usually how I rate these. Is if I had, like I said before, if I had 2 of them set down in front of me, which one would I watch first? I'd watch Hunchback in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
I've listened to the soundtrack like 4 times since last week.
and I go the other way. If I were to watch one over the other, I'd pick Hercules over that. But as our listeners know, you can tweet at us or comment us on the Facebook page, facebook.com/TopShelfPod. If you want to give us some talking points or comments about the film before we dive into it, or if you're listening to this after it's been posted, feel free to comment. We love to get into some conversations. I've had a really wonderful conversation with Thomas about Hunchback of Notre Dame. If you guys want to go to that thread, you can see our back and forth about that. Really, I think it comes down to our disagreement about Jason Alexander. But other than that, we're in a lot of agreement about. So
no hashtag Hunchback fan edit or whatever?
Oh, no. He does want that. He does want that.
All right, I'm going to contemplate doing that, so...
Actually, there is one trope you may have missed, Jeff. A villain does fall to his death. The Cyclops.
Oh,
the Cyclops gets knocked to his death.
I didn't even think about that.
Now, to be fair, he is an underboss, so it's not like the main villain falling to his death. But
Hades does fall to death.
Yeah.
In the sense of that there's souls and dead bodies there? Maybe?
Right, no. A comment we got from Candace was that Tate Donovan, who voices Hercules, sounds just like Channing Tatum. If you go back to rewatch it, Jeff, if you really do go back to rewatch it, adult Hercules sounds just like Channing Tatum. So if there's ever a live action Hercules, Channing Tatum is ready to go.
Okay. Yeah. I did not. I see. Okay. I just need to rewatch the movie. It's apparently what we're saying here, everybody. Okay, fine. I hear it. Okay. Fine.
Right. But so let me go over to the Facebook page real quick here. So we do have a bit of a set of okay. So first up from Scarlett Starkey here, who's I don't recognize the name, so thank you for listening and commenting. My favorite of the later Renaissance films. Love Hades and Meg. It has its flaws and comes across maybe a bit more of a throwaway, lighthearted than most. But sometimes we just want what you want. On a side note, when can we get that Gaston and Gurgi spinoff? You were speaking of loving villains before, and I know Gaston's one of your favorites.
I love my Gaston. I can't help it. I can't help it.
Oh, Gaston, what are we going to do, Gaston?
I don't know. Maybe another adventure.
Oh, I don't like adventures. Oh, no.
Why did I give up LeFou? Sorry, what?
Well, actually, we should just do the Gaston song.
Gosh, it disturbs me to see you, Gaston.
If you can keep that voice up singing that entire song, I will give you $1.
Wow, you didn't miss a shot, Gaston.
I know. Hey, who are you?
Gurgi, I'm Gurgi.
You're a what?
It really is just Smeagol. So Thomas says, between the cast of Bobcat Goldthwait, Paul Schaefer.
We forgot to mention Paul Schaefer.
Paul
I
Schaefer.
forgot about him.
Oh yeah, Paul Schaefer is Hades in this, and though I'm not a fan of Paul Schaefer's work from David Letterman, he just always annoyed me. He does a fine job. It's a really odd casting, but and Rip Torn as Hades. Rip Torn
as Zeus.
Oh, as Zooties, as Zeus. Yes.
Yep.
Who was the person at Disney who seemed to like comedy sidekicks? And now Thomas got his sister to comment because he had mentioned this is her favorite, and she does in fact say that this is one of her all-time favorite Disney movies. There are so many great quotes within the movie, such as if is good. Also, Meg is her favorite female character of all. One thing her and Thomas have discussed many times is if Meg should be considered a princess or not. We actually brought this up when we were discussing her earlier. The unofficial requirements to become a Disney princess are the character must be human, or human-like if you count Ariel. Formally,
she's half human.
Yeah, or Tinkerbell, right?
Yeah.
The character must have a primary role in an animated Disney or Pixar film, and the character must not have been introduced in a sequel, and the character must either have been born royal, married royal, or have performed an act of heroism. Based on all that, should Meg be considered a Disney princess?
I'd say yes.
Yeah, heck yeah. She is very heroic.
She died for him.
Right. For two guys, actually. She died for the guy who left her and went to the underworld. She sold her soul, and she sacrificed herself for Hercules. Yeah, I definitely think Meg should be considered in the pantheon of Disney princesses. She should be crowned.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You want to start a petition? We can start a.
Yes.
I was just gonna say let's go start a GoFundMe.
GoFundMe.
That's not gonna do anything.
We're gonna buy her a crown. So Wyatt says, I only have one thing to say about Hercules. Meg is everything. She has the best personality, best lines, best song, best voice actress. I love everything about her, but she, like many of the characters, deserve a better movie. You're not wrong, Wyatt. I think you may have found a lot of agreement in what Jeff and I have been saying. Let's see. Scholze says, I like this one, though I didn't like the rewriting of Greek myths to make the movie into a better story. I get why, but he's a huge fan of the myths, and he found it frustrating. But they stood out as more fun than the other films around it. And Jeff, you're commenting as I'm doing this live. So
Sorry,
Scholze,
couldn't help myself.
I hope I validated the decision for them to skew the mythology by the muses saying, you don't want to hear a boring old story. We're going to give you a fun one.
Right.
And let's see, was there any other comments on here? Natasha says, there is a part in the movie that makes me laugh every time. It's when she's approaching the boys under the rock before the Hydra fight, and one of them screams, somebody call IXII, which is 911 in Roman numerals. I caught that this time when I watched it, and it cracked me up.
It's very clever writing. Very clever
Yes.
writing.
Let's see. And you didn't think we'd have a long enough episode, Jeff, because I still have a couple of tweets to get to.
I was worried there for a couple seconds. All right, actually, what is your tweets?
So there was a tweet. Do we find the merchandising montage annoying? And no, because that is historically accurate. The Greek heroes of ancient Greece were celebrities that signed autographs, made public appearances, and merchandised for Greek stuff. So even though it was the heir Herc and he had his water bottle and the action figures, that is not too far off from the reality of Greece.
And see, and even if you don't know that, even if you don't realize that the actual ancient Greek, heroes kind of did do that, it's still just kind of a funny, a funny comment on how just everything today has merchandising to it. Just how all of the athletes show up in some form or another on cereal boxes or endorsing products or toys or whatever.
Yeah. So that was from Dig 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 Hi Ho. So thank you as always for listening. Let's see. There's wait. Let's do some quick little theories. I forgot to mention. Okay. This is actually a pretty great theory. It's an Aladdin connection.
Ooh.
All right. So in A Whole New World, Aladdin and Jasmine go to Greece. Remember, they go across the right.
Yep.
And then they go to Egypt, and then they go to watch the fireworks in China. Now, when Hercules sings "Go the Distance," he sees a shooting star.
Yep.
Theory is that shooting star was Jasmine and Aladdin on their magic carpet ride.
It's funny because when I did not know that theory. I didn't until you just told me right now. But while watching the movie, I kind of thought that same thing. Actually, I was like, I wonder if that's supposed to be Aladdin.
Now you could go so Clements and Musker are the directors, so there's a connection there. So maybe that would be enough. But though I will turn my nose up to the straight to DVD sequels, occasionally I will appreciate the cartoon series. Hercules, the cartoon series. Aladdin is in an episode.
Seriously?
Aladdin meets young Hercules.
See? Okay. Then that just proves it, guys, right there. We have a cemented which means, wait a minute, that's weird, because that means Agravac can no longer be in the distant future.
That's right. Now,
which means that he has to be in the past. Oh, which also means Lion King has to take place before all of this and can't take place in a weird alternative future where animals rule the world. Oh, no, it's all falling apart. I do not like this theory at all.
That's all I have from the comments from Facebook and the tweets, and I like that theory quite a bit, and the fact that it's reinforced by Aladdin and Hercules meeting in an episode of the cartoon. Thus, truth. It's the honest Zeus truth, Jeff.
Oh, praise Zeus. All right. So, all right. Well, you know what? That was a fun discussion. Hopefully, I won't get thrown tomatoes at too much for hating this movie.
Not hating. Hate it.
You didn't hate this movie. I just didn't care.
Only person saying you hate it is you.
I know, but I just feel like everybody else loves it so much, and I'm alone. I'm going to go ring my bell in my tower. Leave me alone.
You sit in your tower. I don't think anyone's going to come after that, but I am curious to see what people have to say. But I think we've reached the end of our episode here, Jeff.
We have reached the end. So,
what are we doing next week?
Next week, we are watching, which, by the way, this is episode 35, everybody. Look at 35. Isn't that insane, TC?
35, yeah.
Yeah. And next week will be 36 because that's how numbers work.
Yes. We have I don't know math very well, but we have about 20 movies left to go.
Yeah. Isn't that, it's kind of sad. I'm not gonna lie. We're all downhill from here.
No, we're not. We'll pick right back up.
We'll pick right back up again.
Actually, it's funny. I was looking at just a little bit ahead, and we have a second Dark Age coming.
I think I know which ones you're talking about too.
But that's not anytime soon. What do we got next week, Jeff?
Next week we're watching the 1998 film Mulan. Where we get to listen to that sweet, sweet Donny Osmond voice.
Donny Osmond. Now, you again, this is another one you haven't seen.
Yep. I have only ever seen Make a Man Out of You, that section of the movie.
Okay.
That's all I've ever seen. I have no idea what else happens in this movie. I mean, I kind of do.
All right.
But, haven't seen it. Have not seen it, so... Let's cross our fingers and see how well we do next week, huh?
Well, I'll hit our tags here and everything. I've already mentioned it several times. You can hit us up on Twitter. I'm at TC's Big Head. Jeff is at Random Bell. And of course, you can hit us up on the Facebook page, facebook.com/oh boy, Top Shelf Pod.
You did so well, TC. Now you're just going downhill.
Feel free to comment before we record, so we may have some points of conversation. Otherwise, hit us up after wherever you're listening to this episode, whether it's on iTunes or Ghost Hats or Stitcher or Google Play. Feel free to comment at us and let us know what you think about our opinions or what you think about anything we might have missed. We do this as much for ourselves as we do for you guys.
Indeed. And I know TC, you talk to a lot of the people on the Facebook page. You beat me out of talking to a lot of them, but you have much better, more a better composed responses than I ever would. I think mine would just mostly be like, haha, funny, and that's it. And even though that was it doesn't matter. But I definitely I love everybody. I love the communication that we have with everybody. Our longtime listeners and brand new ones that seem to show up every couple of weeks. Thanks everybody who listens to the show. You don't know how much we love talking with you and seeing and interacting with you. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, everybody. So but TC, I guess that means it's time for you to do the sign-off.
Yeah, okay. So, we did it, Jeff. This was fun. Thank you for having this happen. It was good. This was a podcast. We were the people you were listening to.
Indeed.
And this right here, this is the sign-off.
Oh, I saw what you did there. I love it. I love it.
Gaston, what are we going to do now? Well,
I don't know.
Kill the beast!
Kill the beast!
But
now, where is that short little man that I used to have around me all the time?
I ate him.
Oh, I got dark.
That got dark fast.
I figured we would fade out on that. We don't have to.
We will.
We don't have to go the distance on that very poor improv yet.
Oh, I saw what you just did there. This has been a production of Ghost Hat Media, proud member of the Ghost Hat Network. Find them online at www.ghosthat.net.
I like the ending.